All right, well, thank you for tuning in to Something Interesting. Today, I'm going to give you a quick crash course in sharks. I live in a coastal community, and shark attacks have happened here. Just right off the coast of Wrightsville Beach, which is our closest beach. There were 2 shark attacks 2 years ago. Both times, one was a teenage girl and one was a teenage boy, lost an arm. So, scary. But I can tell you this, shark attacks are extremely rare. Sharks kill about 6 people a year. So, I mean, you're much more likely to die from a dog bite, from dog attacks or something like that, than you are from shark attacks. It's extremely rare. And part of that has to do, admittedly, with the fact that not everybody goes to the beach and not everybody swims in the ocean. So it's a small percentage of the population that actually gets in the ocean, and even a way smaller percentage of the population is actually killed by sharks. But I'll tell you a few things about sharks that are kind of interesting and maybe that you didn't know. I'm going to concentrate on stuff that you didn't know. I mean, you kind of know. You've seen Jaws, you know, these sort of things. But I guess I'll start with the history of sharks. Sharks have been around for about 400 million years. So basically unchanged. Sharks did have an ancestor that died out about 50 million years ago called a megalodon. The megalodon could get up to 50 feet long. And if you go to aquariums, like our local aquarium here at Carolina Beach, there is a megalodon mouth there that you can, stand behind and get a picture of. So megalodons were huge, and kind of be glad that they're not around anymore. They were so big that they would eat dinosaurs. Sharks had ancestors that would eat dinosaurs. So they were big and scary. The sharks do not have tongues. That's something that's kind of interesting. But they do taste. Their taste buds are in their teeth. Their teeth have taste buds in them. Really interesting. And as you know, almost like a Rolodex, sharks keep making teeth because as they attack, they break off teeth and new teeth come up to replace them. And it's not like humans where you have baby teeth and then they fall out and you have your regular teeth. Sharks are constantly replacing their teeth because of the nature of what they do. Here's another interesting fact. The animal with the most testosterone in the world of any animal is a bull shark. And bull sharks are extremely aggressive. I think testosterone can be over testosterone can be responsible for aggressiveness and things like that. They have the largest amount of testosterone of any animal in the world. Bull sharks also are unusual in that they can live in both fresh and salt water. So something interesting about bull sharks there. There is a tiny species of shark. We were talking about the big species of shark, but there is a tiny species of shark called the pygmy ribbon-tail cat shark. And it gets about 7 inches long. That's as big as it gets. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Most sharks are solitary hunters, except for maybe like hammerheads you can have 100 hammerheads that kind of get together. But sharks like being touched. There was a scientific research about Caribbean reef sharks, for example, that would actually forego food in favor of being touched and stroked by divers. And in fact, great white sharks, our most scary, violent animals that we're all terrified of, have allowed divers to ride them, to get on their backs and touch them and touch their dorsal fins and ride them around for a little while. This is obviously very dangerous even for professionals, but great white sharks are not necessarily the unstoppable killing machines that people think of. In fact, great white sharks can go up to 3 months without eating a thing. They'll go 3 months without eating anything. Great white sharks there are no great white sharks in captivity, and that's not because of their danger. It's because they almost instantly die. They cannot stand being in captivity. Great white sharks, they've tagged them, and they'll go all over the planet. I mean, they will go from sea to shining sea, and from continent to continent. They'll go from Australia to the coast of North Carolina and back, and they're just simply travelers, and they cannot stand to live in captivity. Sharks are also extremely they can sense electromagnetic pulses, like what a fish would give off, like a living animal gives off some electromagnetic pulse. And they have something in their nose called the ampullae of Lorenzi. And these are interesting sensory organs that we don't have, obviously, but that allows them, you've heard about sharks can detect a drop of blood from, 3 miles away or whatever. I'm not sure of the exact, but they can detect a drop of blood in the water from a long way away. Now, humans are not on the menu. Whenever someone is bitten by a shark, that is generally, it doesn't help them, but that is generally an exploratory bite. The sharks don't exactly know what you are, and they take a bite and go, that's not a seal, that's not what I eat, and don't eat the person. But unfortunately, if you lose an arm, you have to get that bleeding stopped immediately, because you have major veins in your extremities, and you will bleed to death fairly quickly, or you can have brain damage. I remember a story of a 9-year-old boy that bled enough that it gave him brain damage for the rest of his life. So that's kind of a terrible thing that can happen. But anyway, rubbing these sense organs, these ampullae or whatever, can put a shark into a catatonic state called tonic immobility. The sharks can also be put into this trance-like state by flipping them on their backs, and then when you flip them back over, they kind of quickly come out of that state. But tonic immobility is something that maybe when it's really cold or there's no food or something like that sharks can go into, and it is just basically a trance-like state where the shark is alive, but it has no conscious movement at all. The largest known shark litter. This is a little fact I'm reading. Largest known shark litter was discovered in a blue shark, and in that case, that shark had 135 pups in her uterus. So that is a pretty amazing fact there. Fastest sharks, short-finned makos. Are the fastest sharks. They've been clocked at 36 miles an hour, and it's estimated that they can move up to 60 miles an hour. So they can really move. You don't want to be around those things. The great white capital of the world is in South Africa, Gansby or something like that. South Africa. It has the greatest concentration of great white sharks anywhere. So, where are shark attacks most common? We're going to talk about shark attacks real briefly here. Shark attacks are most common in the United States, particularly Florida. Florida is the #1 place to get attacked by sharks, although no one was killed there last year, but Florida is the #1 shark attack place. It's warm water there, sandy beaches, lots of people in the water, and some of the sharks' food is there, that sort of thing. Next is California, then Texas, Hawaii, and finally, our beloved North Carolina, #5 for shark attacks. So it's like, good Lord. Obviously, Australia, Brazil, South Africa, and a place called Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean are also way up there on the list. Some of the Caribbean nations like the Bahamas, Cuba, etc. have also tremendous or very high frequencies of shark attacks. And of course, this is a comparative number. That is a comparatively high number. So, For those of you vacationing in Florida, be very careful. Scan for fins, which is what I do whenever I'm in the ocean, particularly with my kids. I'm always kind of scanning for fins and keeping a little bit of a lookout. And if you have any cuts or anything and you're bleeding, don't get in the water because the sharks can smell that and they may come for you. But more than likely, you're going to have a great day at the beach, and you're not going to encounter any of our swimming friends that may mistake you for lunch. So that's a quick thing about sharks. Thank you for tuning in to Something Interesting. I'm John the Storyteller, and I look forward to talking with you on the next one.